good old time. Have a fun time with two bros. We're having a good time, never a bad time. Having a fun time, never a down time. Down on the BivBros Show.
We're gonna talk for just 1 hour. It's an hour of power. We're gonna have fun under the sun, even though the sun isn't shining outside. No,
it isn't shining here either, brother. It is. Apparently, Chicago had 11 straight days of gray, and that was a record. No sun, nothing. It got better this weekend. I know. I was actually surprised. I actually thought that didn't sound right, but
I thought it was, when I was there, I thought it was 6 straight months of 6 straight months. Say that 10 times fast.
6 straight months
of gray.
6 straight months.
Yeah, 11 days seems like nothing. I mean, I feel like my whole winter existence there was just gray and dark.
Yes. Well.
Okay. Yeah. It was 70 degrees here yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I was walking outside without a shirt on. I mean, I had a shirt on without a sweater.
Right. Wow. It was.
I know.
It was really nice yesterday. The sun was definitely out.
But today.
Yeah, it was tough.
And it's cloudy all around the world today, actually. Everywhere. It's just one giant cloud.
It's true. It's true. It's so true.
Yeah.
It makes an enormous difference, and I always forget, because there have actually been winters here that were brutally cold, but the sun was out. Totally different game. Totally different game. If you don't have that, I guess, vitamin D producing thing, you don't even. I wasn't even aware at how much it was affecting me until the sun came out.
Do you mean the vitamin D blue light lamp?
I need to bring it back out, kind of thing. Like I didn't. Yeah. I haven't needed to use that in a while, but this has just been the grayest. Not the coldest. The weather has been. The temperature's been great. But it's been very.
I never had one of those lamps. I probably should have plunked down for one. I don't know how much they help or don't help, but I know that I would get depressed in September, just at the thought of winter coming. I was already in dread.
It's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna leave that dread behind. We're gonna do a podcast today.
Sure.
It's a podcast called The BivBros Show, the podcast. And we're really happy that you are here, everyone. I'm really happy that you're here, brother.
Hey, thanks. I'm happy you're here.
This is number 10.
Yeah, it's our 10th anniversary.
of doing this podcast. The anniversary, of course, is just 10 episodes. But man, that is an accomplishment. We still don't know what this podcast is about. We still are insecure about what this is about, or if it's about anything, or whether it matters. We don't know, but
does anybody care?
Can anybody out there?
Does anybody eat pears?
I don't like pears. But anyway,
you don't like pears?
I'm not a huge pear fan. No.
What about Bosc pears?
I love pears if they are soft. But
that's the only way to eat them.
But I so often they're not. They're not. If it's a perfectly ripe pear, then I'm into it. But
yeah, you got to time it right. You got to time it. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, right. Like you get them and they're hard and terrible.
Yeah.
But you can't cut into it until you can indent it with your finger.
Oh.
Or your thumb. Yeah. Don't even, if you can't press into it, don't bother. Put it back.
Okay.
Put it back in the bowl.
Oh.
But once you do, and you can't let it go too far, because then it just becomes
exactly
kind of mushy and
it's like avocado.
Sticky. Yes. Yeah.
It's like a one-day window.
Yeah, right. It's just like that. But I feel like that your sweet spot is narrower, a little bit narrower, and you don't. Yeah. Anyway, but I love pears.
Okay, love pears. I'll check out some pears.
Start with a Bosc pear.
Okay.
It's my recommendation to you.
I will try it. But yeah. So pears, but so pears.
Yeah, well, sorry. Where were you? You were saying that we were feeling insecure about that we don't know what this show is about, and we really don't. And when you look out on the world of people who are podcasting and making videos, and God, there's just an endless stream of stuff that no one ever has any time to watch or pay attention to. Yeah, you go, gosh, what does anybody care?
Yeah.
I recently have been nerding out hard on people who are doing it correctly.
Yeah.
And if you're a nerd, you've probably heard of Critical Role. It's been around since 2015. And in case you don't know what it is I guess it used to be on a website called Geek and Sundry, which I don't know that much about. Mm-hmm. You know about that?
I do. Yeah. Felicia Day's sort of.
Was that her thing?
Yeah, that was Felicia Day's thing. It's still around. So she kind of started this sort of empire of nerd. I like Felicia Day. I really do.
She's fun. She's not really a part of it. Apparently, she's guested on it.
Okay.
But and now that they've gotten quite popular, they've got Will Wheaton and all the mega nerds, and even like some people who you wouldn't really think as into this, which we haven't actually established what this is yet, but I will. Like Joe Manganiello, am I saying that right? The guy from True Blood, like the werewolf beefcakey,
really,
action here. Yeah. Anyway, what it is it's a group of voice actors who do anime, and video games, and stuff, cartoons, things of that nature, and they were all getting together on Thursday night to play Dungeons and Dragons, and they just decided to start filming it. And there's not a whole lot to it. There's no editing. They do it. You can go live still to this day, twitch.tv/Critical Role, I guess, and you can see it live, or you can just watch. I mean, there's so much content. It's kind of too much because I think it's like 3 hours per episode,
right?
That they'll play for, but it's just people playing D&D. They're not, they're fun, but they're not like wearing costumes or overly performing. It's just people playing D&D.
Right.
I will say that Matt Mercer, the guy who was the dungeon master, is exceptionally good at what he does. He's a very fun, very good DM. So anyway, it's just been super nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
And also kind of a little bit of good prep because I'm trying to put together a D&D game here.
Yes.
Here at home, and it's kind of reminded me how you play,
right?
Which it's literally been probably over 30 years since have played Dungeons and Dragons. So anyway, I look at these people and I think, God, they're doing it right. They're doing something. They're just friends, who are getting together anyway,
right,
to do something that is fun and that they love to do, and now it is their job.
Yes.
And they work too, and they all are like successful voice actors. So they, but this weird thing that they did on Thursday nights is now a cottage industry for them. And anyway, that's.
I have faith that we will come up with that thing, that we will find that thing. I don't mind just sort of figuring it out. I mean, I would love to know right now exactly what BivBros Show, the podcast, is all about. I really would, but I don't. I'm the one who's editing them, so I know these episodes intimately, and I certainly enjoy listening to them.
I listen back to them as well, and I also do too. But of course, we are biased.
Because it's us.
Because it's us, and we think that we are extremely interesting. Apparently, that's what we think. Yes, we'll figure it out as we go along. But anyway, if you're there and you're listening right now, thanks for tuning in because we don't know what we're doing, but we're gonna just try to have fun anyway.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna talk about things. This is number 10, and I feel like today we're just gonna. Instead of having a big celebration or coming up with something wacky and crazy, we're just going to sort of share some things that you and I have been into lately and enjoying.
Do you want to start us off?
I certainly could.
Well, why don't you?
I shall. So I've been working very hard since January. I didn't really haven't taken a break, and I'm okay with that because I think that the energy that I'm spending right now is going to pay off soon. As I've mentioned, I'm preparing for this theater conference in Louisville, where I'm going to it's sort of Caption Point's coming out party, right? It's only 4 of us, but to us, it's the coming out party, whether people notice or not.
Do you need to explain to what Caption Point is? Caption Point is
a service that provides captioning for theaters and live events for the deaf and hard of hearing. And we know that every theater is completely different, that every space is different. And so the difference between what we do and someone else is that we care about what you need specifically. Do you have one television that you're going to display captions on? Do you really need for the patrons to have mobile devices to watch the captions as the play is performed? Do you have 2 TVs? What does your theater do? It could be all these different kinds of things, and you want to
theater
grow.
is more of a kind of a silent conceptual experience.
Is a theater of your mind?
People sit, but they don't face the stage, and those who are on the stage say nothing and mean nothing.
Yeah. Well, Dada's theater is coming back, and we have a plan for you. We can help you caption for the deaf and hard of hearing.
The captioning for that would look like ellipses.
Yeah, it would.
Just sound effects. Anyway, so that's a lot about Caption Point. You guys are leading the charge for accessibility in live theater for the deaf and hard of hearing.
Yeah.
And so you've been working hard January and now into February, gearing up for the Southeastern Theater Conference.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you going to do there? You're going to set up a booth and tell people what Caption Point is about. And possibly in a as you're going to possibly do some captioning in your booth.
Yes. So we
show people
exactly. We spent all of last week really coming up with all these different things because that's the coming out party part of this is that I've just never put all of this stuff together. So it's a big step. So we have this 10 by 10 space that it'll be open for 3 days of this conference, and this conference has been around for decades and decades. It is a theater conference. Apparently, there are different ones all over the country, and this one is from the Southeast. And it's high school students, college kids, it's regional theaters, it's all the schools and universities, it's people who are selling things like lights and sound, it's workshops, it's presentations, it's just kind of everything theatrical jammed into this 4-day conference.
How much cosplay will there be?
Well, we're going to be in full gear, so 2.
Okay.
Two
so
people.
Caption Point will be representing
2 people.
Two people. Wonder how many people attend the conference total, do you think?
That's a good question. A lot. I think
10,000, 80,000.
Probably closer to the 10,000 mark, and I could be completely wrong about that, but I think it's pretty
math
big
nerds. Thing. Do the math. 2 people out of 10,000.
Yeah.
What's the percentage of that? That's how many people will be representing the cosplay.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of. I have been to SETC and as a younger man, I don't remember much about it except that it was just a lot of theater.
Jump did something like that.
We did
back in the day.
Yeah,
our band. For those of you who listen to this but don't know about Jump Little Children, our band.
Did we do that?
Probably nobody. We didn't. It wasn't SETC, but it was some kind of Southeast college conference where you would go, where colleges come and they kind of they see bands that they want to book for their upcoming year.
Yeah.
And at college for college shows, which we used to like to do because they pay you very well.
They do.
And so that's how they find them. So yeah, cons. So we did a con. The Van did a con. You're doing a con. I love to go to cons.
Yes.
You're actually going to miss a great one while you're at SCTC
I know.
there in Chicago.
Yeah.
The one and only C2E2, which I haven't been to in years, and I would love to go. The aforementioned Critical Role will be there.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll miss all the cons except for the con I'm going to.
Yeah.
We're going to be in this booth, and Allison and I are going to perform a 3-minute scene every hour or so, every couple of hours maybe.
The same scene or different scenes?
I think the same scene, unless we get crazy.
The one from Pulp Fiction? the musical? Pulp Fiction, the musical?
Currently, the forerunner of the choice of scenes is a little section of The Big Lebowski, because that movie really means a lot to Louisville. We've discovered.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
Somebody started something called, speaking of cons, Lebowski Fest in Louisville. And it has grown and grown and grown and grown. And so, for some reason, The Big Lebowski...
People just show up as the dude and...
No, that's cosplay. There's tons of cosplay there.
So. Oh, sure. Grab a White Russian.
Yeah.
And then... I mean, I imagine the people representing the most are the dudes and maybe Jesus.
Probably the nihilists.
The Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, right. The nihilists. Right.
Sure. Well, and the cowboy, Sam... He's a striking...
Sam Donaldson.
Sam Donaldson, the cowboy. Yeah. Television personality, Sam Donaldson, reporter and cowboy. So we're going to do the scene, and our 3 or 4 minute scene is going to be captioned. And so we're really excited. It's going to be strange. Maybe people will love it. Maybe people will just be freaked out or make fun of us, or I don't know, but we're just gonna
spread the word of accessibility, because not only is it just something that people should do, but soon, if not already, if they don't already know it, it's something that you will have to do by law. So
now
giving people an avenue in which to do that is they're. Whether they realize it or not, they're gonna need it.
They're gonna need it. You have done some beautiful work to help us prepare. There's a lot of preparation still. I have to kind of get the elevator pitch down to a more comfortable, memorized way. We came up with
I think we had gotten to like the 45th floor by the time you were done with your spiel a minute ago. We were going to the penthouse.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll need to tighten that up.
I'll tighten up the elevator pitch. And you've designed some beautiful postcards and the banner and some business cards. So I'll be excited to pass those out. I wanted you
to go there. I mean, it'd be cool to have your own banner. You're going to hang in your own booth.
Yeah.
I'll give you a tip that I read from people who table. It's called tabling, in case you didn't know, in con parlance. Mm-hmm. Specifically for people in the artist alleys of Comic Cons around the nation and the world, I suppose. When you're tabling, you want to do as much as you can to make your booth stand out from everybody else's. So, of course, having a colorful, clear, engaging banner that tells people who you are, of course, that's something that you need. But one other thing that people do is they just, whether it's pixie lights, Christmas lights, or stuff that just helps it kind of pop out from what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
Like decorate your place within your, you're going to have an allotted square footage.
Yep.
So most people at in artist alleys are selling their artwork or their whatever stuff that they've made. So they try to create walls and separate themselves visually from other people, which you may not have to do that, but don't be afraid to bring some bling and really make it pop. As they say.
I've got the right team for that. I'm not afraid.
You got a hot poppin' team.
I got a hot pocket team.
Yeah, team that loves hot pockets.
Yo.
Hot pockets. Hot pockets.
From the 45th floor, I say, all of that being said, I have been sort of nose to the grindstone since the new year, and it let up after after SETC, but I have sort of taken a day here to try to, relax in the evenings. Lindsay and I have discovered a new television show called The Outsider. It is
it's good. Yeah.
It's real good. It's really, really good. It's on HBO, which cuts a lot out for some people, but it is a Stephen King novel, which is usually not a great thing. And
it can go either way, especially if it's newer. Yeah.
Especially it is a newer novel, and it is, it's an adaptation of a newer novel, but of course, he's famous for his endings falling apart, and I've not read the book, but so far
Elise read the book.
Oh, she did. What'd she think?
Yeah. I think she liked it.
Yeah.
When I mentioned the show to her, I don't think she was excited about the book to the point where she was like, "Ooh, we got to watch that." Oh. So yeah. But it's unusual that she would even read Stephen King to begin with.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised about that, but it is. I can already tell that they have done a better job of adapting it than he normally does in currently writing
for TV.
His most
TV track record's not.
It's horrific, but the thing about Stephen King circa, for the last 10, 15, 20 years probably, is that he's still writing beautifully. He still has the thing that draws you in, and the characters that you love to hate, and he's so good at like the creep factor. But one thing that he has just given up on is trying to remain modern, current. All of his characters, he still sets them to be, in their 40s, but they're 40-year-olds that for some reason have been technologically absent for the last 30 years. So they still talk about 50s songs and tell, like, it's so obvious that it's a 75, almost 80-year-old man writing. So that's, I keep, I've read a couple of his newer books and like, why wouldn't an editor catch this?
Right.
And say something. I mean, I guess they're afraid that Stephen King will fire them, which would be a bad, loss of a gig. Anyway, they've modernized this show, and it's so far it's really exciting.
Okay, I love Ben Mendelsohn, and who's the other star? It's Jason Bateman.
Well, yes, he's actually he's the director of a lot of them, and sort of he's a producer, and so it's really Jason Bateman. He's in I can't give anything away, but he is a lot of this. This must be a passion project for him because he's very, very involved.
He's did you ever see the movie The Gift? Not the movie with what's her face from the Australian beauty. She was Galadriel in Lord of the Rings. Kate Blanchett.
Blanchett, yeah.
Did you ever see that movie? Not that one, but there's another movie called The Gift with Jason Bateman.
Oh, maybe that sounds familiar.
If you haven't seen it, definitely go watch it. It's a really great thriller. But it was the first time that I'd seen him.
Yeah,
it's super good. Yeah. That was the first time I'd seen him in something very creepy. Yeah. And I thought, oh wow, he can be more than just kind of in silly, goofy comedies. He was personally particularly creepy in it, but it was the whole story was anyway.
He's fantastic. He's just fantastic.
Where's Justine these days?
That's a great question.
Yeah,
she showed up on a couple of episodes of the Arrested Development
of Family Ties.
She showed up on a couple of episodes of Family Ties.
Yeah. Was she on? I don't even remember her being on Arrested Development.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably right. It's been years since I've seen it. Well, that's cool. So Outsiders, you're into that. That's great.
Yeah.
I need to convince Elise to go in on that.
It's fun. It's not. It's good. So we are excited. It's it's not a streamer. It's not a all at once.
Yeah,
What do
they
you call that?
release it.
There's got to be a name for
A binge show.
a binge show. It's not a binge show.
Right. It's not a binge watcher. They release it every week. That's how HBO does it.
Yeah.
If you like Ben Mendelsohn, you might. I didn't necessarily love the whole series, but I did really like the first season of a show called Bloodline.
Okay.
It was the first time I really had become aware of him. He's Australian, P.S., which you may have known. But,
yeah.
I didn't know that when I first was watching Bloodline, and I was just shocked. He plays. It's about this family in southern Florida who is real messed up, and he's kind of the most messed up of them, but also the most sympathetic character as well. It's just watching him go is kind of amazing. The subsequent seasons of it weren't as engaging, but that first one is pretty good. So if you like him a lot, check that out.
I do like him a lot, so that could be making the list. And so there's that we've been doing, and then the other thing that I kind of am excited to mention is that our friend Lucy Carpetian is got a few episodes of Fargo, or a few scenes on the upcoming Fargo.
Oh, nice.
It's set
which
in the
is
50s.
filming in Chicago.
In Chicago, yes. And we found this out the other night, and because I'm already excited. I got the scoop from his sometime drummer Kevin O'Donnell that Andrew Bird is going to be in the show.
I've heard that.
Actually in the show as a character. And Kevin said that it was of course a new experience because Andrew Bird is not typically an actor, but that he's going to be playing a like a mortician sort of character possibly. And so that's... You know
what it reminds me of? It makes me think of, oh gosh, man, I'm the worst with using my brain for references. Lyle Lovett. You know how Lyle Lovett was in movies? He's just weird. He's just weird in himself.
Yeah.
It's got to be like that, right?
It could be. Yeah, I think that's the idea, is that the director who I love, God, I love Fargo so much. I love that guy so much. I can't remember his name, the director, right now, but
I still haven't seen the season with Ewan McGregor. I've only seen two seasons. I've seen the... Great. I know. It wasn't on Hulu,
right?
For the longest time, and I haven't gone back to check.
Go treat yourself.
But we loved those first two seasons. I especially liked the one that was set in the 70s.
Yeah.
That guy, what's that dude's name? The guy who kind of played her dad as a young man. Anyway, he's great.
A lot of people we don't know. Welcome to the BivBros Show.
Lucy Carpetian, our good friend, and a fine lady and a great actor. Mm-hmm. So she's going to be in the show. She's got some episodes.
She's got an episode or two. They
raising her profile.
Yes, she came and she did one scene or something, and then they asked her back again, and then they're having her back again, I think sometime this week even. Wow. So she says it's not a huge role, of course, but she showed a picture of her outfit and looks like fun. I for those of you who watch Fargo, we were trying to figure out what era. I mean, it's set in the 50s, so who is it related to? Because you can watch Fargo completely out of order. There's no, season to season, it's a completely different cast, a completely different concept, a different story, but there's always one or two threads,
right?
Throughout the entire. So for example, the cop that you just mentioned, they go back in time and they show Tom Hanks' son as the cop, and then he's having the daughter that is in the first season who's grown up, and there's like a thread going on. So we're thinking the 50s. Who will it be this time? Who will the focus be on the family? Yeah,
interesting.
I think that yeah.
Okay, well, good on you, Luce.
Good on you, Luce. So that'll be a fun season. That'll be a fun season to watch of a show that we really, really genuinely love.
Yeah, and when does that come out?
I think it's this year.
Yeah, probably probably soon-ish,
Yeah.
maybe in the spring.
Yeah,
Summer?
I think they
Who
cranked
knows?
it out.
Or in the fall. I don't know. I don't know anything about TV. All right, cool. Great. What else?
Yeah, those are three big things in my life.
Okay.
Feel pretty good about it. Feel pretty good about it.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I've been. What have I been doing? Yeah, I mean, I haven't been working on a singular project the way that you have. Instead, I've been feeling lots of freelancer panic, which we will maybe discuss freelancer panic in a Bivens Brothers creative special podcast. But if you're a freelancer out there, I don't need to explain that. You already know what I mean. But in the meantime, to distract myself from said feelings of panic and terror, I finally finished something that I started in December when we all got Disney Plus, which was I'd set out to watch all the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies in chronological order rather than in order of release. And so that was an accomplishment. That was like 20-some films.
Wow.
That I watched while we were on tour, and then once I got home, just eating during lunch or whenever I could sneak a few minutes in. And so I have my top 3 favorites, and I have my bottom 3 least favorites. And I'll hit you up with those.
Please,
if you're interested.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I have to say I'm fascinated. I'm so impressed that you have been able to accomplish that feat. I know it's a fun feat, but it's also a lot. It's also a lot. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it was actually more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Some of the movies I'd already seen multiple times, so I was, not necessarily needing to go and watch it one more time.
Sure.
There were a couple that I actually did skip, so I cheated because they don't have currently they don't have Black Panther or Ant-Man and the Wasp available on Disney Plus. I'd also seen both of those very recently, so I didn't feel like I needed to.
Sure.
So I just pretended that I saw them.
Okay. I forgive you.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. Thanks. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. There were some that I was looking forward to giving a second chance.
Yeah.
Some surprised me, and some, in a good way, and some surprised me in a bad way.
Interesting.
There was only one movie that I had not seen, which was Spider-Man: Far From Home. So I finally saw that. Right. I don't think that any of my choices are particularly controversial. I'd say most people might share, or a lot of people might share them. For my top 3, I'd say number 3 was Endgame. Avengers Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
I was still, even seeing it a second time, I was so impressed with how beautifully they stuck the landing, how much acting there was in it, and of course alongside lots of spectacle and all the the fighting and the epicness that you would expect in a movie like that, but so much acting.
Right.
Which is just so unusual for movies like this. So that still held up, I think, probably the best of all the Avengers movies. And I still love, the only real clunker of the Avengers movies is Age of Ultron, which is just not very good.
Right.
Civil War is my number 2 pick.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe for no other reason that I remember coming out of the theater, seeing it for the first time, and I was just like giddy, I was just a kid again. Like seeing all those people on screen it was so much fun and so exciting, and it still held up. I think not a lot of people would choose that one necessarily, and I'm sure there's others that are just as good that I could swap out with that one. Black Panther's amazing. Yeah, there's lots of other good choices, but I'll go with that one. Yeah, and then number 1, I think just sheer quality wise, and is Winter Soldier, and I think that's pretty widely held thought as well. So no real surprises there. Just the writing of it, the fact that it really is more of a political thriller than a superhero movie, is pretty fantastic. It does get a little bogged down in the, when you get into the plot line of like, oh, wait, they're using these giant helicarriers to kill thousands of people all at once. What? It gets a little, silly Bond movie at that point. But, that's at the very end. And at that point, you're like, well, who cares?
Right. Right.
Anyway, so those are my top three. And then my bottom three are, I'd say Thor the Dark, coming in at number 3.
Sure.
Thor the Dark World. It's not bad. It's just boring. It's still, it didn't get any better. Mm-hmm. It didn't get any worse, but it definitely didn't get any better. It's super boring. I had not seen it since the theater, and it's just boring. So, and then coming in at number 2, my second least favorite was Captain Marvel. Again, boring. It's just boring. I hated how they framed the story, that she didn't have her memory. It's such an interesting character, and there's so much awesome stuff you can do with Carol Danvers, and they just did none of it, in my opinion. And if the character doesn't know who she is, how are we supposed to know who she is? And at that point, an analogy I liked to make was I similarly, at that point, I thought Ant-Man and Captain Marvel were kind of on the same par as far as not the best Marvel movies, not the worst maybe, but not the best. And but the difference is with Ant-Man, in the first 5 minutes, you know who Scott Lang is, right? He's an ex-con who loves his kid, and he'll do anything for her. And you're like, great, I love you, Scott Lang, I'm in, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, it's Paul Rudd, so you're going to love him. Kind of, you just sit there and read the phone book or whatever, you're going to love it. Yeah. I don't really know Brie Larson from anything else. There's something very stiff about her, in my opinion. But they didn't do her any favors with her character, not knowing who she was. They gave her nothing to really chew on. And so that's the difference. You don't know who Carol is. She doesn't know who she is. And how do you care about that? So anyway, Captain Marvel, not the best. But then my number 1, it's probably not the worst movie, but it personally hurt me the most because I was looking forward to it the most. In this whole rewatch of the cinematic universe, which is Spider-Man: Far From Home. Again, boring, but my biggest, there were some neat parts of it, like how they handled Mysterio, and that was kind of fun, but the stakes felt incredibly low to me, or just contrived and manufactured. But my number 1 pet peeve, and they've had 2 movies to get it right, and they still haven't, is the character of Spider-Man. Now, and that's huge when the movie is called Spider-Man. And they just, in my opinion, they have not nailed it. And I accept that this Peter Parker is not the Peter Parker I grew up with. This is the Peter Parker for this young generation. So they've got to make him relatable to that. It's not the same person. And that's fine. That's great, in fact, except his humor is kind of the key ingredient. Yeah. Peter is really funny, especially when he puts on the mask. It's a nervous habit that he talks too much and he cracks jokes, and that's what makes him so much fun, right? Yeah. Beyond his super cool powers, and it's not just that he's fun and funny and it's whimsical. It's also because Peter is actually a character who's suffered great loss and hardship, and he still manages to always find the silver lining, always find the joke, always come out on top, no matter what is thrown at him. Yep. And that is a deep, deep part of that character. I've never seen them do it in a live action movie correctly. Never. Probably a little bit closer in the Tobey Maguire movies, not at all in the Andrew Garfield movies. I mean, his humor in that is just like snide and gross, like he's a sarcastic brat. Yeah. And he's not really funny at all in these movies. In the Tom Holland films, he's nervous. He's a nervous, awkward teen, which that's fine. That's also part of who Peter is, but he's not translating that into being funny. Right. And that is Peter's defense mechanism. So that's a big, big missing component, which just doesn't draw me in. The second and more technical, nerdy thing is that in neither film have they addressed his Spidey sense correctly, which is arguably his number one power. Like he's fast, he can stick to walls, you know, but the thing that makes him be able to dodge bullets, you know, escape danger, it's this spider sense, right? Yeah. So in the first movie, they don't really address it at all. I think in Avengers Infinity War, there's a scene where the hair on his arms kind of stand up. Right. And then in this film, they do go into his Peter tingle, spoilers. But it's for me, it felt like an afterthought. Like, well, we got to address this, but they didn't give it its importance. Instead, they relied heavily on, again, high-tech suits. Yeah. Stuff like that. His relationship with Tony Stark, which his relationship with Tony Stark is definitely the most interesting part of these films. And I think that's fun, and it's a good connection to the rest of the universe. But it's just taking, in my opinion, it's just taking so much away from who Peter is as a hero. Yeah. Not just his powers. It's like this is a part of him. And if the story were him discovering it, and it was really pointed towards that, then I would watch that. Right. But it really felt like a throwaway, like, ooh, don't forget about your Peter tingle at the end. So I just feel like they're not nailing it, and it's so much more obvious that they're not nailing it when you look over at Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and they're crushing it. Right. It's so funny, so heartwarming. It's everything about not just Peter, but Peter and Miles is they get it. Yeah. So hard. And so when you see that and you're looking back at these Tom Holland films, you're like, what are you guys missing? Why is this so hard? Right. So because it clearly can be done. Anyways, so it's not that it's the worst movie, but it's the biggest disappointment for me. Sure. I
just want to interject real quick. The interesting thing about this, I didn't think about this until you just mentioned it. There is an example of doing it well and having fun with it, and that has been the Iron Man movies. That has been Tony Stark, and I don't know how much of that is the acting and the choices that the actor.
Maybe Thomas is not a funny guy.
It could be. I like Tom Holland. I want him to win. I want him to succeed as Spider-Man. But you are totally correct about this humor thing, and yet Robert Downey Jr. can do it like over and over and over under his breath, like stuff that I don't think probably people wrote. I would imagine. You just saw them, but it does feel fresh and improvised and weird. It feels the way it should be, and yeah.
Well, he's doing. So for people who weren't fans of these characters in the comic books, prior to Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr., the character of Tony Stark, he had never been funny in the comics. He was not written to be funny. He was kind of a dour, brooding alcoholic, like tortured, more of a tortured type character than a funny playboy. So they definitely reinvented that, and now that's how he's portrayed in the comics. Now that's how he's written now. Right. But before that movie, he wasn't. And so I'd say you're right. That probably is almost certainly Robert Downey Jr.'s influence and just natural comedic timing. But what's funny, now that you bring that up, is that I feel like they've tried to interject that throughout their movies, especially having seen them all again. What they're realizing, you can see them experimenting with things, right? Yes. Thor was okay. Thor 2 was boring. Thor 3 worked because it's hilarious, right? So comedy is something that they've discovered again and again when they find the right equation really works. Even to the point where they even try to make Doctor Strange a character who is, kind of joking around and kind of basically doing a little bit of what Tony Stark is doing, like kind of giving him that kind of attitude, and I think for a couple of different reasons. Number one, because, like I said before, they've discovered that comedy works. Number two, and spoiler alert if you haven't seen Endgame yet and you don't know how that works out, I'm about to spoil it for you. Now that Iron Man and Captain America are off the board, they're replacing them with new archetypes, or rather, they're replacing these archetypes with new people. So Tony is gone. So Doctor Strange is the new arrogant, funny, smart guy, and Captain Marvel is the new soldier with a true heart. She's going to replace Cap. So they're replacing these archetypes with these new characters for the next phase. And part of that is the humor, but what you're saying is so right and so weird is the character from the beginning who's always been written with a sense of humor is Spider-Man, and he is not funny.
He's not funny.
He's not funny. It's so weird. Why? He's the guy.
Well, okay, let's go back to one thing.
Thor's not funny?
No, well, I know, but here's the thing. Going back to what you said, it's not that the comedy works. I mean, yes, those movies that were written by comedic minds tended to do better because they were better written and more interesting. Also, the actors that could handle those lines, I mean, Helmsworth is extremely funny. He's very funny. He's a very funny man, and he was able to pull that off. So they brought someone in. You could easily write a not funny comedy easily. So it's not really just that they discovered that comedy works. It's that they're giving chances to better writers that have a funny bent to them, I think. And I think they probably did stumble into that accidentally because of Downey Jr. probably improvising his way through a movie or two. But I think that you're right. I also say that it's not. I don't want them to focus more on things being funny. I want them to focus more on being good. I didn't like Doctor Strange very much. I didn't like the portrayal of him. It certainly wasn't charming like Iron Man.
It's more accurate to the comics. He's not very likable. He's not a likable character. Right. Which is, I think, my prediction is that if he truly is the replacement for Tony in the new next phase of MCU, it's not going to work the same way. Number one, I mean, I love Cumberbatch, but he's definitely not. He's not. He doesn't have the charisma that Downey has in the same way. He has his own kind of charisma, but
for aliens,
when he's Sherlock, when he's kind of portraying a sociopathic weirdo, it's gripping to watch. He's so good, but I don't fully. But I don't. If he's going to try to do, I don't know. It's not going to work as well. I don't think. Plus, it's just not. It's Doctor Strange. Who cares?
Yeah. Well, but who cared about Iron Man?
That's true.
Get better writers in, and find the writers that are killing it. In
the Spider-Verse guys.
Yeah. Sure.
Get the Spider-Verse guys. Or get James Gunn. Get people who get the goofiness. Because, I mean, Tom Holland is clearly a good actor. Maybe he's not good at improvising that kind of humor. But at this point, come on. You can write it.
Yeah.
It can be written. And it's a big gaping hole that I just don't get. So I'm curious to see. I'm more excited going forward. I'm more curious about these TV shows than I really am. Definitely, like I know that they finally announced that they're going to do another Spider-Man movie with Disney. There was that stupid kind of new Coke thing happening,
right?
And but I don't care at this point. They're 0 for 2 for me.
Yeah.
Because Homecoming wasn't that great. This one was even worse just because it was more boring, just more like it seemed purposeless. And I also was waiting for I thought there was supposed to be some big reveal during this movie. I felt like I'd even heard, seen things. I tried to avoid looking at as much of as I could on the internet about Far From Home, but it seemed like there was something percolating about a connection to Spider-Verse and just, you know, I think I saw someone saying like, oh man, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire got to be psyched. I saw something out there. I was like, ooh, are they going to hint that those films and, you know, like Maguire, Garfield, Into the Spider-Verse, that it's all connected in the way that the Spider-Verse is all connected? And in which case I would have thought, okay, that's cool. And I thought that they were going to hint at that in this movie, and they don't.
Nope.
I know that, you know, they've been talking about they did talk about the multiverse in the film. And I thought, okay, here it comes. Oh, wait, never mind.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the next Doctor Strange movie is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse Madness or something. So maybe they'll get there. I don't know. But yeah, I'm more excited about these shows. This new footage that's come out with WandaVision looks insane.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, wacky. Oh, man. Have I actually watched it? I think I've just seen like a GIF of her. It looks like they're on the set of multiple TV shows, right? Mary Tyler Moore.
Right.
There's one brief clip where she's in full-on Scarlet Witch classic costume. But I get the idea. I'm guessing that the premise is going to be, you know, she's probably backsliding since the death of Vision, and creates a reality where they're together.
Right.
Which, that sounds awesome. I hope that's what that must be what's happening. I hope that's what's happening. And of course, Falcon and Winter Soldier, you know, say no more. I'm already excited about that. Anyway, that's my take on the MCU.
That's a great take, brother. I think that, you know, you start off by saying that everybody and their brother has done that, but I think you had some interesting things to say. I appreciated them.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. I was surprised. I didn't expect.
The end of Phase 4.
Yeah. See you later. Bye-bye. I didn't expect that was your last movie, but you had good facts to back your claim.
You know, Spidey's my number one guy. If he's not handled with care, I get angry.
I know.
It's upsetting, which is why Into the Spider-Verse was such. I hadn't experienced that level of childlike
glee,
joy, wonderment since, you know, I don't know, who knows when.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. I had a couple more things I could share with you. You know, our good friend Ward used to sub in a show called The Band's Visit. Mm-hmm. And the Broadway touring show came through town. And I just wanted to urge people, if you're living in a town and The Band's Visit is coming, please go see it. It is one of the coolest musicals I've seen in a really long time. The music is incredible. There's a reason why it won so many Tonys. The music is fantastic. It's not musical music like cheesy white bread pop musical music. It's very good.
That's great.
Very unique. The choreography, it's not, you know, it's not big Broadway dance numbers. It's very restrained, very subtle was the word used to describe it. And it's a show that's seemingly kind of about nothing and about everything. It's just very quiet, and I had no idea. I didn't know anything about it going in, other than that Ward was in it and played cello, and that he was on stage. So I figured the band was going to be on stage, and they were. Just go. You will love it. I promise.
That's fantastic.
So that's what I've been up to. I mean, I saw one more. Actually, just indulge me, because I need to tell you about this show.
It's your podcast, buddy. Go for it.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll be brief. So we saw The Band's Visit because my brother-in-law and sister-in-law oftentimes have tickets to shows. We saw the Band's Visit was at the Fox Theater, which if you've never been to the Fox Theater, it's just one of the most beautiful theaters I've ever been in. Yeah. And just go see any show there. The show will be better just because you're at the Fox.
Guar.
What's that?
Guar. Go see Guar there.
They would never let Guar in there. Never. But then the Alliance Theater, a local wonderful theater here, not theater company, but theater. They oftentimes get a lot of Broadway preview shows. And I don't know if this one's being previewed for Broadway or not, but Benji and Claire, my brother and sister-in-law, had tickets to see a show called Maybe Happy Ending. And the only thing that they said about it was that it's about robots.
Oh.
I said, great. Sign me up. I'm into it. And the show was originally written and produced in Korea and won a bunch of awards. And so they did, I guess, an American version of it. It is, I sadly cannot recommend it to you.
Oh.
It is really weird. It's set in Korea. There's almost, other than the leads, the two lead actors are Asian. Other than that fact, there's very little that is Asian about it at all.
Okay.
In contrast to the band's Visit, the music is extremely white bread.
Uh-huh.
Most of it is. All the songs that these two robots sing are just total, like, I could not sing you one tune. There's nothing memorable about it. And then it's contrasted with music by that like 40s big band swing music, like really Harry Connick Jr. style. So not quite in the 40s, but more like an imitation of old time big band swing.
Yeah.
Crooner style.
Uh-huh.
So it turns out that one of the robots, his old master, loved that kind of music. So there are inexplicably kind of numbers throughout the show in that style. And then when the robots sing, it's just this white bread music. There's nothing Asian about it. I mean, I kind of wanted it to be like K-pop insanity, and it was none of that. Anyway, the moment that I really wanted to share with you, that I probably shouldn't share with you, is that robots, of course, they don't have really feelings necessarily. They certainly don't fall in love. Well, of course, these two robots do fall in love, and there's a scene. Oh God. There's a scene at the end where they realize they're in love, and they tell each other they're in love, and they start kind of like holding hands and touching, and the audience is super quiet.
Okay.
Really quiet. And I just start laughing under my breath, just like uncontrollably, just like tears in my eyes, because I started to get this feeling, like this urge started welling up inside me to yell at the top of my lungs, "Let's see some Robo F***ing!" And I did restrain myself, but not without a few tears of laughter shed. And it wasn't laughing at myself because I thought I was so funny, but just like thinking about what would these people think if somebody in the audience yelled out, "Let's see some."
Yeah.
And yeah. So anyway, not the best show, but that part did tickle me.
I love it. I love that.
Anyway, so that's what I've been doing here in Atlanta.
I love it.
That's my experience in life.
That's great experiences, and I feel pretty great about this 10th episode of this podcast. I understand your insecurity about this podcast, but I still really enjoy talking to you for an hour, brother. I sure do love you.
I love you too, brother.
And let's just go ahead and do this again next week, and we'll
come hell or high water.
We'll talk about hell and high water. That'll be the
high waters,
the crux of the podcast.
High waters are coming back, you guys.
High waters. We're going to talk about hell and how it relates to high water pants. That's right. They actually are coming back, though. Yeah.
Anyway, well.
Until then, I'll talk to you next week.
Adios, Adelphi.
Come on in and have a good old time.